First contact gone wrong. The quantum signature alarm blared through the halls of the Global Science Institute in Geneva, its urgent tone drawing Dr. Sarah Chen away from her morning coffee. Her hands trembled slightly as she read the data streaming across her holographic display. After 15 years of searching, humanity had finally detected signs of advanced alien civilization, and they were heading straight for Earth. The Meridian Alliance vessels emerged from quantum space 3 days later, their crystalline ships refracting sunlight in impossible patterns across Earth's atmosphere. Their arrival should have been a moment of celebration, humanity's first contact with an advanced civilization. Instead, it became the day Earth learned its place in the galactic hierarchy. High Ambassador Vexthor, a towering figure with iridescent scales and compound eyes, didn't bother with diplomatic pleasantries. Your recent experiments with quantum field manipulation have drawn our attention, he announced to the hastily assembled United Earth Council. Such technology is restricted to Level 3 civilizations and above. You barely qualify as Level 1. Dr. Chen, seated among Earth's representatives, felt her face flush with anger. The dismissive tone in the alien's voice was unmistakable. To them, humanity was little more than children playing with matches. We have 2 options for you, Vexthor continued. Surrender your quantum research and accept our guidance, or we will be forced to ensure compliance through more direct means. The threat hung in the air like a toxic cloud. What the Meridian Alliance failed to understand was that humanity's quantum breakthrough hadn't been a lucky accident. It was the result of centuries of scientific evolution, of countless failures and innovations, of humanity's unique ability to learn from its mistakes and adapt. While the politicians debated and the media whipped up a global frenzy, Dr. Chen and her team worked tirelessly in their underground facility. They knew something the aliens didn't. Earth's quantum research had progressed far beyond what the Meridian Alliance had detected. The Aurora Protocol, named after the ethereal lights that had inspired human wonder for millennia, was nearly complete. They think we stumbled onto quantum technology by accident, Dr. Chen explained to General Maria Rodriguez, the head of Earth's Unified Defense Force. They have no idea we've been systematically working toward this for decades. General Rodriguez studied the holographic display of the Aurora Protocol. Will it work? Theory says yes, Chen replied. But we've never tested it at this scale, the energy requirements alone. We're out of options, Doctor. The Meridian Alliance ships have taken position around our major cities. Their weapons could vaporize millions in seconds. The next 12 hours became a blur of activity. While Earth's leaders kept the aliens occupied with bureaucratic delays and diplomatic doublespeak, a global network of quantum arrays was activated in secret. The Aurora Protocol wasn't just a defensive system. It was humanity's proof that they deserved their place among the stars. When Vexthor's patience finally ran out, the Meridian Alliance ships powered up their weapons. The High Ambassador's voice boomed across every communication channel on Earth. Your time for peaceful compliance has expired. We will now demonstrate the consequence of defiance. But as the alien ships prepared to fire, something unexpected happened. The quantum field they relied on for their advanced technology began to shift and warp in ways their sensors couldn't explain. Humanity's quantum arrays weren't just defending Earth. They were rewriting the local laws of physics themselves. Dr. Chen watched from the control center as the first phase of the Aurora Protocol engaged. We may be level 1 by their standards, she said quietly, but they're about to learn that human innovation doesn't follow their rules. The real test of humanity's resolve was about to begin, and the outcome would reshape the galaxy's understanding of what it meant to be an advanced civilization. Sometimes, the most powerful technology isn't the one that's the most advanced. It's the one wielded by those with the will and creativity to use it in ways nobody else imagined possible. The hidden advantage. The Meridian Alliance ships hung motionless in Earth's orbit, their crystalline structures now dulled by the quantum interference field surrounding them. High Ambassador Vexthor's voice had lost its condescending edge, replaced by something closer to confusion. Impossible, he transmitted. Your civilization lacks the computational capacity to generate these field patterns. In the control center, Dr. Chen allowed herself a small smile. That's because we don't use computation the way you do, she whispered to herself. The Aurora Protocol's true genius lay not in brute force processing power, but in humanity's unique approach to quantum mechanics. Where the Meridian Alliance relied on vast networks of quantum computers to manipulate spacetime, humans had discovered something different. They had found that consciousness itself could influence quantum fields in ways that machines couldn't replicate. The Aurora Protocol wasn't just a defensive system. It was powered by the collective mental activity of millions of humans, their brainwaves synchronized through a network of quantum resonators. General Rodriguez watched as the alien ships attempted to recalibrate their weapons. How long can we maintain the field? Indefinitely, Dr. Chen replied. The more they try to force their way through, the stronger our quantum lattice becomes. It's like a martial art, using their own energy against them. But the Meridian Alliance wasn't finished. Their ships began to shift formation, attempting to find weak points in Earth's defensive field. What they didn't realize was that every attack they launched provided more data for humanity's adaptive defense system. In orbital stations around the planet, thousands of trained quantum sensitives monitored the field fluctuations. These individuals, once dismissed as having paranormal abilities, had turned out to be naturally attuned to quantum frequencies. Their intuitive understanding of quantum patterns allowed them to predict and counter the aliens' moves before they happened. They're preparing something big, reported Maya Patel, the lead quantum sensitive on the Asian orbital platform. Their field signatures are converging. Dr. Chen nodded. This was the moment they had prepared for. Initiate Phase 2, she ordered. Across the globe, buried quantum resonators activated, tapping into Earth's geomagnetic field. The Aurora Protocol wasn't just about defense. It was about showing the Meridian Alliance that humanity's approach to science wasn't inferior, just different. The alien ships suddenly found themselves trapped in a complex web of quantum fields, each attempt to break free only entangling them further. It was like trying to fight against quicksand. The more they struggled, the more firmly they became trapped. What is this technology? Vexthor demanded, his transmission crackling with interference. Our sensors cannot comprehend these patterns. That's because you're looking for patterns that machines can understand, Dr. Chen replied, finally opening a direct channel to the High Ambassador. Human consciousness doesn't work in predictable algorithms. We've learned to harness that chaos, that creativity, in ways your quantum computers never could. The truth dawned on the Meridian Alliance too late. They had assumed that any civilization's technological progress would follow the same path as theirs, a linear progression from mechanical to quantum computing. They never considered that a species might find a completely different route to manipulating the fabric of reality. In orbital stations around Earth, the quantum sensitives began the final phase of the Aurora Protocol. Their synchronized consciousness created quantum interference patterns that not only neutralized the alien weapons, but began to actively dampen their ship's power systems. You have a choice now, Ambassador, General Rodriguez transmitted. You can either recognize that humanity's technological path, while different from yours, is equally valid, or you can remain trapped here while we dismantle your ships piece by piece. The silence that followed was deafening. In that moment, the balance of power shifted not through superior firepower or advanced technology, but through humanity's unique ability to think differently, to find solutions where others saw only obstacles. And as the Meridian Alliance ships powered down their weapons, Dr. Chen realized that this wasn't just a victory for Earth. It was a demonstration that the path to advanced civilization wasn't a single-lane highway. Sometimes, the species that seemed the most primitive could surprise you with their ability to see the universe in ways you never imagined. Unity in crisis. The Global Command Center buzzed with activity as representatives from every nation monitored the standoff in orbit. The Meridian Alliance ships remained ensnared in Earth's quantum web, but tension hung heavy in the air. No one believed this would be the end of the confrontation. Dr. Chen's prediction came true when the Alliance's secondary fleet emerged from quantum space, triple the size of the first wave. Leading them was Grand Marshal Kex-Nor, Vex Thor's superior, whose holographic projection filled the command center's main screen. "Your primitive tricks won't work twice," Kex-Nor announced, mandibles clicking in barely contained rage. "We've analyzed your quantum interference patterns. Our ships are now shielded against your consciousness-based technology." But the Grand Marshal had made the same mistake as his predecessor, underestimating humanity's adaptability. While the Meridian Alliance had been busy analyzing Earth's defense system, humans worldwide had been preparing their response in ways the aliens never expected. In the Amazon rainforest, indigenous shamans whose ancestors had communed with nature for millennia joined their consciousness with quantum sensitives, adding layers of complexity to the Aurora Protocol that no computer could predict. Buddhist monks in Tibet contributed meditation techniques that enhanced the quantum field's stability. Australian Aboriginal Dreamtime specialists provided new ways of perceiving quantum space that even Dr. Chen hadn't considered. "They think we're using one system, one approach," Dr. Chen explained to the United Earth Council. "But humanity's strength isn't in uniformity. It's in our diversity. Each culture, each tradition, each way of thinking adds another layer to our quantum defense that their computers can't decrypt." The proof of her words came when the Second Fleet attempted to breach Earth's atmosphere. Their new shields, designed to counter the original Aurora Protocol, encountered something entirely different. The quantum field had evolved, incorporating patterns based on African tribal rhythms, Native American spiritual connections, and countless other cultural contributions. In orbit, Maya Patel coordinated with quantum sensitives from every continent. "It's like a global symphony," she reported, each culture adding its own instrument to create something greater than any single approach could achieve. The Meridian Alliance ship's shields began to falter as they encountered quantum patterns that shifted faster than their computers could analyze. Each time they adapted to one cultural influence, another would take its place, creating an ever-changing defense that was as diverse as humanity itself. "Impossible," Kex-Nor transmitted. "Your species lacks the unified consciousness required for such coordination." General Rodriguez couldn't help but laugh. "That's exactly the point, Marshal. We don't need to be unified in thought. Our strength comes from our differences." The truth of humanity's advantage became clear as the Second Fleet struggled against Earth's evolved defenses. While the Meridian Alliance sought perfect uniformity, humanity had embraced its contradictions and variations. Each human culture contributed its unique perspective on reality, creating a quantum defense system that was as unpredictable as it was effective. In the Kenyan Quantum Center, Maasai warriors whose ancestors had tracked stars for generations now tracked quantum fluctuations with an intuition that surprised even the most experienced scientists. Japanese Zen masters provided insights into quantum stability that revolutionized the entire system. Every hour brought new contributions from cultures that the Alliance had dismissed as primitive. Dr. Chen watched as data streamed in from around the world, each culture's contribution strengthening the whole. "This is what they never understood," she said to General Rodriguez. "Humanity isn't strong despite our differences. We're strong because of them." The Second Fleet's formation began to break as their shields failed against the constantly evolving quantum assault. But more importantly, something was changing in the way the Meridian Alliance perceived their opponents. For the first time, they were facing a species that didn't just resist their technology. It challenged their entire understanding of civilization. As the Alliance ships retreated to a higher orbit, Dr. Chen realized that humanity had achieved something even more important than a military victory. They had demonstrated that true advancement didn't come from technological superiority alone, but from the ability to embrace and learn from every perspective, every tradition, every way of thinking that humanity had to offer. The real revolution wasn't in the quantum technology. It was in proving that unity didn't require uniformity, and that sometimes the most powerful force in the universe was the ability to see it through 1,000 different eyes. The counterattack. In the depths of the Global Command Center, Dr. Chen and her team watched as the Meridian Alliance gathered their forces for what would surely be their final assault. The alien fleet had quadrupled in size, their ships forming a gleaming constellation that almost rivaled the stars themselves. They're adapting faster than expected, Maya Patul reported from her orbital station. Their quantum shields are becoming more complex. They're learning. But so was humanity. What started as a defensive protocol had evolved into something far more sophisticated. The Aurora Protocol had become a living, breathing entity, powered by the collective consciousness of billions of human minds. Then it's time for Phase Omega, Dr. Chen announced. The words sent ripples of anticipation through the command center. Phase Omega wasn't just about defending Earth anymore. It was about showing the galaxy why underestimating humanity was a dangerous mistake. The plan was audacious, perhaps even reckless, but it embodied everything that made humans unique. While the Meridian Alliance expected another defensive maneuver, humanity prepared to do what they did best: the unexpected. Deep beneath the surface of every continent, hidden quantum transmitters activated. These weren't the sophisticated devices the aliens use. They were hybrid systems that combined quantum technology with human neural patterns in ways that defied conventional physics. "Begin the sequence," General Rodriguez ordered. "All stations, initiate quantum pulse." The attack began not with a bang, but with a whisper. Across the globe, millions of humans focused their thoughts on a single purpose. The quantum field surrounding Earth didn't just defend anymore. It reached out, extending tendrils of consciousness-influenced energy into space. At first, the Meridian Alliance didn't even notice the attack. Their sensors, calibrated to detect traditional quantum weapons, missed the subtle influence of human consciousness seeping into their systems. By the time they realized what was happening, it was too late. "Their ship's quantum cores are destabilizing," Maya reported, a note of triumph in her voice. "The consciousness field is affecting their neural networks." The Alliance's greatest strength, their hive mind technology, became their greatest vulnerability. As human consciousness infiltrated their systems, their perfectly ordered network began to experience something they never anticipated: imagination. Across the alien fleet, ship after ship began to lose coherence. Their crews, linked into the hive mind, were experiencing individual thoughts for the first time in their species' history. The effect was devastating to their military precision, but enlightening to their collective consciousness. What is this sensation? Grand Marshal Kexner's transmission wavered. "These patterns, these thoughts. That's called creativity," Dr. Chen responded. "Something you can't program into a quantum computer. Something uniquely human." The Alliance fleet's formation dissolved into chaos as their crews grappled with concepts they had never experienced: doubt, curiosity, individual desire. Their perfect unity, maintained through technological suppression of individual consciousness, crumbled in the face of humanity's gift, or curse, of independent thought. But humanity's counterattack wasn't designed to destroy. Instead, it offered something the Meridian Alliance had never known they were missing: the freedom to think differently. In the command center, Dr. Chen monitored the quantum readings with growing satisfaction. "We're not just defending ourselves anymore," she explained to the United Earth Council. "We're showing them a different way of existing. Our primitive individuality is awakening something in their collective consciousness." The effect spread through the Alliance fleet like a virus. But instead of destroying, it was creating something new. Ships began breaking formation not in retreat, but in exploration. The rigid hierarchy that had defined their civilization for millennia was experiencing its first taste of chaos, and with it, the potential for growth. Grand Marshal Kexner's next transmission was different, tinged with something that sounded almost like wonder. How do you live like this? With so many thoughts, so many possibilities." "That's the secret you never understood," General Rodriguez replied. We don't just live with it. We thrive on it. Our chaos, our disagreements, our individual dreams, they don't weaken us. They make us stronger. As the Alliance fleet hung in disarray above Earth, humanity had achieved something far greater than a military victory. They had introduced a species that had forgotten the value of individual consciousness to the power of independent thought. The quantum tendrils of human consciousness continued to spread through the fleet, not conquering, but awakening. The counterattack had succeeded, not through destruction, but through transformation. In showing the Meridian Alliance the power of human consciousness, Earth had changed the course of galactic history. The question was no longer whether humanity deserved a place among the stars, but how their unique perspective would reshape the future of all species. A new dawn. 3 months after the quantum confrontation that changed the galaxy, Dr. Sarah Chen stood before the newly formed Interstellar Council. The chamber, constructed in record time through a collaboration of human and Meridian technology, floated in Earth's orbit as a symbol of the unprecedented changes sweeping through known space. The Meridian Alliance had not just survived their encounter with human consciousness, they had been transformed by it. Their once rigid hierarchy had evolved into something new, a hybrid system that balanced their natural unity with newfound individuality. The Aurora Protocol was never meant to be a weapon. Dr. Chen addressed the assembled representatives, human and alien alike. It was proof that advancement doesn't always follow a predictable path. Sometimes the most primitive approach, as you once called it, can lead to the greatest breakthroughs. In the months since the confrontation, the effects of humanity's quantum consciousness wave had rippled through Meridian society. Their ships no longer operated with cold efficiency, but hummed with a new kind of energy, one that combined their technological precision with sparks of creativity and innovation. Former Grand Marshal Kexnor, now first speaker of the Reformed Alliance, stepped forward. The change in his bearing was subtle but profound. Where once there had been only the collective will, now there was individual presence. We came to Earth believing we would find a species in need of guidance. Kexnor admitted, his mandibles moving in what humans had learned was a gesture of humility. Instead, we found teachers. The quantum consciousness your species has mastered. It has awakened something we had lost generations ago. The evidence of this awakening was everywhere. Meridian ships, once identical crystalline structures, now bore unique modifications reflecting their crew's emerging individualities. Their quantum technology, combined with human consciousness patterns, had evolved in ways neither species had imagined possible. Maya Patel, now Earth's chief of interstellar relations, brought up a holographic display showing the changes spreading through known space. Other civilizations are taking notice, she reported. The rigid hierarchies that have dominated galactic society for millennia are beginning to shift. The quantum sensitives had detected something extraordinary. The consciousness wave that humanity had unleashed was still expanding, touching distant worlds and ancient civilizations. But instead of chaos, it was creating a new kind of order, one built on diversity rather than uniformity. We thought technological advancement meant moving away from our primitive nature, General Rodriguez observed. Turns out, our primitive nature was our greatest advancement. The implications were staggering. Humanity's quantum technology, powered by consciousness and shaped by cultural diversity, had opened up new possibilities for interstellar travel, communication, and understanding. The Aurora Protocol had evolved from a defensive system into a bridge between different forms of consciousness. But the greatest change, Dr. Chen continued, isn't in our technology. It's in our understanding of what it means to be advanced. She gestured to the Earth below, its surface now dotted with combined human Meridian research facilities. True civilization isn't about erasing differences. It's about learning from them. The Meridian ships in orbit were no longer a threat but partners in exploration. Their crews worked alongside human quantum sensitives, each species learning from the other's perspective. The rigid categories of Level 1, Level 2, Level 3 civilizations had been replaced by a new understanding. That advancement could take countless forms. As the council session concluded, Dr. Chen stood at the observation window, watching Earth rotate below. The quantum field that now surrounded the planet wasn't just a defense system. It was a reminder that sometimes the most powerful force in the universe isn't technology or weapons, but the simple human ability to think differently. "We've changed them," Maya said, joining her at the window. "And they've changed us," Dr. Chen replied. "But that's the point, isn't it? True advancement isn't about becoming more powerful. It's about becoming more open to change." The stars seemed brighter somehow, as if reflecting the new possibilities that had opened up for both species. Humanity had taken its place among the stars not by following the expected path, but by showing the galaxy that there were infinite paths to advancement. And as ships from distant civilizations began arriving, drawn by the stories of Earth's quantum consciousness revolution, one thing became clear: the galaxy was entering a new age. Not one of uniformity and hierarchy, but one of diversity and endless possibility. An age shaped by the most unpredictable force in the universe: the human spirit.